Talking Moves, myself, Nick, and I'm recording this intro before I go into the cinema because I'm seeing 2 films today, but it's going to be dark by the time I get out. And also just to say that while I will still do stuff on this YouTube channel with films, I'm also doing stuff on TikTok. I'm going to try and put some links or some video images there. So if you want to hear what I thought of Anora or Paddington in Peru, then go and have a look there. The link will be in the description, but basically, simply put, they just get more views there. So that's it. That's why that's happening. But I'm off to see a Christmas movie. I'm not wearing a Christmas jumper, just a regular one. And that film is Red One, starring The Rock, J.K. Simmons and Chris Evans. No, not that one, the other one. Well, maybe it is that one that you're thinking of, not the other one, but you know. This has been a troubled shoot. There was lots of production issues with it. It's getting I think a limited release in the cinemas. It's being funded by Amazon, and it'll be going on to Amazon Prime. And I guess depending on how well it does at cinema, this Christmas or next Christmas, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, it looks entertaining enough. Directed by Jake Kasdan, I think, who did the Jumanji films. So, you know, I'm not expecting greatness from this film, but I'd like to at least be entertained. Let's see if we can get that from this film, hey? So, and it's raining when it's not supposed to be. So that's me wiping rain out of my eyes. But look, enough talk. I'll give you my thoughts of Red One after I've seen it. Now. They obviously knew I was coming to see Red One. It's like the 12th of November right now. Alright, let's talk about Red One, shall we? It's a mixed bag of a film. And I found it quite hard to decide how I really feel about it. But what I will say from the offset is it's not a bad film. It's just not a great film either. So, first of all, my thoughts on this. It feels very much like it's geared towards children. And it's really not a kids' film at all. Like, I think it would be quite scary for a lot of kids. It's a 12A in the UK. So that'll be a PG-13 in America, I believe. Well, it could be a PG, I don't know. It's not out there yet, so I don't know. But it was quite an intense 12A film. So I was surprised at how violent it was, how sweary it was. I mean, it was only, to get a 12, you can only have so many, I think it's like 2 or 3 slight swear words. So it's just a couple of S-bombs. But yeah, I thought it was quite intense for a film that appeared to me from the marketing to be aimed at like a more family audience. It's directed by Jake Kasdan, as I said in the intro. I was right there. A rare win for me. He directed Jumanji and Jumanji 2, which I didn't like. I liked Jumanji. I didn't like Jumanji 2. I didn't think that was very good at all. And I feel, having watched this film, that the first Jumanji was probably lightning in a bottle for him, because this suffers a lot of the same problems that Jumanji 2 did. It's just not very well directed. The pacing is really weird. It's about 2 hours and 10, far too long. Should have been nearer 90 minutes, in my opinion. Definitely under 2 hours, if nothing else. And the CGI is pretty bad throughout, but the fight sequences are absolutely abysmal. The first proper one that they have, it's like watching WWE from like last year or for the last decade, because the guy they used to have doing WWE programming was just all about fast cuts, camera cut. And it was so hard to see what was happening sometimes because there was just so many camera cuts. And I've never seen such bad editing in a fight sequence as you do in this film. It is awful. Like, it was actually making me feel a bit nauseous because I just could not. It was cutting so quickly I couldn't follow what was going on. I was trying to follow what was going on, and it was just, yeah, it was an absolute mess. And all of them are kind of like that. The first one is definitely the worst one, but none of them are particularly great. You've also got The Rock. Now, this is a $7 production. It was written, I think, by his wife or someone related. It might have been his ex brother-in-law. I get confused with how $7 is made up. I know originally it was him and his ex-wife, who was his wife at the time. They created $7, and I know it's like a family business. But either way, it's written by Garcia. And the story itself is quite interesting. Like, it's the problem when you're making a Christmas film is that, you know, a lot of the tropes have been done. So how do you make things a bit different? And I think they did a good job of trying to, you know, expand the lore and stuff. Like, that part of it I actually thought was quite good. But it's yeah, it's a bit of a mess at times. And it definitely felt like it could have been shorter, which is an argument you can make about a lot of the reviews I do on YouTube, I guess. But The Rock is one of the biggest problems in this film because he's the same in everything nowadays. Now, I used to like The Rock, both when he was in wrestling, but also when he first got into film. You know, the first few years of his career, he had quite a diverse range of roles. He was a Scorpion King in the Mummy films. He also did films like The Tooth Fairy and The Game Plan, where he kind of, you know, played to a character type as such. But in more recent years, a lot of his films, he feels like he's the same character in everything. His character in Jumanji is not that dissimilar to Black Adam. He's not dissimilar to Cal, his character in this film. There's just no range. And you see other actors come wrestlers, other wrestlers go actors, like John Cena or Dave Bautista, who, you know, do try and have more varied roles. The Rock just seems to play the same character in everything, and it's really, really tiresome. I really didn't have any time for his character here. And also, he was like a Superman type character where, because of, you know, a bracelet that he had, he was able to do like a lot of manipulation and stuff like that. It felt like he was never going to be able to. There was never any peril with the character because he was too powerful, and I'm sure that was designed on purpose. Chris Evans is the co-lead here. He's pretty good. Like, some people like him, some people don't like him. I feel completely in the middle about Chris Evans. I don't really have much of an opinion of him. I think his Captain America portrayal was really good. And I've seen him in other films, and, you know, he's been fine. But I can't say I look out for him in a film. But, you know, he did a good job in this one. I can't really fault him. His accent was a little bit weird. I don't know if that's his natural accent. It's not what I'm used to hearing in films. So if that was a character choice, that's a weird one, but whatever. That's the only complaint I've got there. There's lots of talent in this film, including J.K. Simmons, who plays Father Christmas. But a lot of the actors in the film don't really get much to do. Like Lucy Liu is in the film quite a bit, but her role is relatively small. The waitress from It's Only Sunny is in the film. Again, it's a really small role. She's in the film a few times, but she doesn't really add anything to the film, which is a bit of a shame. I like her. I wish I'd seen more of her. But, you know, it's got an interesting story. I just think it's really poorly executed. And that's the problem I've got with this film. And again, is it aimed at kids? Is it aimed at families? Is it aimed at adults? It's not smart enough or adult enough to appeal really to adults, and it's probably too aggressive and too violent for smaller children, and that might put families off. So it's really positioned weirdly. Like, I don't know whose decision it was to aim it at this audience that they have, but it's definitely a strange decision. But look, what would I give this film? And I think it's probably worth a 6. It was enjoyable enough. There were things that I did like in the film. I don't want to say too much of what that is because of spoilers and such. But I thought they did some really interesting stuff with the mythos of Father Christmas. You know, I liked that element of it. I just don't think it was made particularly well. And I think if there was some different casting for the main characters, that would also improved it. So I think a 6 is fair. Should you catch this at the cinema? Personally, I would say if it's going to be on Amazon before Christmas, and they haven't announced when it's going to be on Amazon Prime yet, as far as I know, then I would say just wait for it to come onto Prime. But if you're looking for a Christmas film, if you want to see something a bit more festive on the run up to Christmas, then you know it's a solid choice if you feel that this is going to be appropriate for your family. Because again, I wouldn't take a 5 or 6 year old to see this film. I think it's going to be too intense. 10, 11 should have no problem with this film. Under that, up to your discretion, but it is more aggressive and violent than you'd probably expect it to be as a Christmas film. So that's Red 1. That's all I've got to say about Red 1. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, remember that Flynn lives.